And yesterday was a pretty good day. Probably felt like a weekend for the Carolina Tar Heels. Probably felt like a weekend of, like Saturday of a long weekend. You knew you had Monday off. Has there been a better, lighter, more fun-loving night for any team in college basketball this year than last night for UNC? First of all, they beat Notre Dame, which, if you asked me a month ago, I would have said of course, but Notre Dame had kind of been turning their season around, playing better as of late, and UNC not only beat them. We use the term mollywopped on this show a lot. We use the term shellacked on this show a lot. I think we have to mix the two. I think it was molly shellacked. 84-51. And it could have been worse. It could have been worse. Clinched to share the ACC title. That's very nice. First time since 2019 they'll have at least a share of the ACC title. They sent a herd of seniors out victorious on senior night. When I say a herd, I think it was 7.
A lot of them.
We talked about yesterday the tradition of starting seniors on senior night. I mean, R.J. Davis and Armando Bacot, they were going to start. But other than that, I guess they drew straws maybe.
Well, I think probably because Cormac Ryan and Paxton Wojcik were just transfers in for this year. The other guys have been with the program for several years.
True. Little seniority on senior night. Makes sense. Let's talk about Armando Bacot. Armando Bacot went 2 for 2 from 3. When you have one of those cool, uplifting, light, everything going your way kind of nights, Armando Bacot goes 2 for 2 from 3. You want me to put that in perspective? Armando Bacot, prior to last night, had 827 made buckets. 3 of them were threes. Last night, he had 4 made buckets. 2 of them were threes. When it rains, it pours on senior night. That's unbelievable. And Roy Williams was there almost laughing, like, I don't know. Didn't recruit him to be a shooter, but I guess it's one of those nights. Here's Armando Bacot after the game on what the extra year, because obviously he's in the generation of players that does get that extra year, what the extra year meant to him.
It meant the world to me. Just this school, this community, fans, my teammates, everybody just stuck with me, the coaches, and just so thankful to get this extra year. And I mean, it's all over now, but we got so much more to play for this year, and that's the most encouraging part of this.
Armando, after the game, I think made some people reconsider some things. Here's what I mean. I have another quote in front of me that I will read to you. This is from Bacot postgame. I may not have been the best player that ever played here. We actually have the sound. Even better. I love it when Dennis is one step ahead of me. Dennis, go ahead and play that for us.
I didn't know I was going to start crying, but I'm just so thankful. I mean, even for you guys, I mean, through the tough times and the good times, y'all have always remained professional and y'all believed in us. And I mean, just everything y'all do. I'm going to miss this part of it too, just being able to see all your faces when we travel and being able to play in this gym. It's meant the world to me. I may not have been the best players that ever played here, may not have scored the most points, I did grab the most rebounds, may not have blocked the most shots, but I think in terms of players, nobody has loved this school more than I have, and it's something I'm going to be proud of.
The way he said it, and he was getting emotional at times, kind of powered through that one, but when he said in terms of players, nobody has loved this school more than I have, and that's something I can be proud of, I think that's going to make some people rethink some things. Because for the last few years, especially when you get outside of the Chapel Hill community, who rightfully, right there, guys can do no wrong, I think there's a lot of people that assumed he was coming back for the NIL check. Right, he was one of those very first guys in the NIL world to start having rumors floated around there of like life-changing amounts of money. He was one of the first I can remember in college basketball where the rumors and reports were over $500,000, and then it was like, well, of course he's going to come back. He's making $500,000, right? And if he doesn't go to the NBA, that's more than he'll make overseas, and of course he's going to come back. It genuinely felt like last night, right? Him thanking or being appreciative for the extra year, him saying nobody of any player in UNC history loved the school more than he did. That feels like he's like, no, I would have come back if this were 1997, right? If they gave me an extra year, I was going to take another year. It didn't have to be the NIL era. And I respect that, right? I think a lot, especially in basketball, there's a lot of guys that as soon as they step foot on campus are counting the days until they can get out of there. And then a lot of guys end up, 2-3 years from then in the G League, playing for the Mud Ants, and they're going, probably would be pretty fun if I could have stayed in college and enjoyed that a little bit more and kind of, stayed where my feet were at that time. And Bacot seems like he has that kind of outlook. And you may say, oh, well, he was never going to be a first-round pick. Has not stopped a lot of people from going to the NBA. And college basketball is littered with potential game changers that left to be a second-round pick. So last night, it was all good for UNC. It was all airy. It was all light. Everyone played well. RJ Davis had his moment. I mean, there's something to be said for just being ahead by enough, and they were ahead by plenty. To go ahead and take your seniors out with 3 minutes left and let them soak in the cheers. It's
the curtain call.
Yeah, a close game. You got to play your guys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you lose the close game, they never really get that moment. And senior nights are weird. I say this, it's something, kind of a mantra I live by around college sports, which is it doesn't matter how much applause you have on signing day. It matters how much applause you have on senior day. And there were a lot of guys for North Carolina that had quite the applause on senior day, which is what you can be proud of, right? You earned that. The hype gets you all the likes on social media on signing day. Mm-hmm. Ooh, a 4-star, a 5-star signed. Whoa, welcome to the fam for other schools down the road. Welcome to the brotherhood. Everybody gets really excited. But on senior day, that's on what you've earned and what you've done. And I think UNC really celebrated that in a rightful way last night against Notre Dame.
I was thinking what Bacot said about – because here's something that people don't realize, may not know, just kind of behind the scenes, is that when Bacot talks to the media on home games, he sits in the same spot every single time.
Yep.
And it's
half a decade.
Literally for half a decade. But it's something that, like, you as a college athlete, like, you get familiar with that. Like, that's part of your routine. It's like, man, I'm not going to sit in this spot anymore. There's the little stuff like that you realize I'm not going to do that again either.
This whole segment was about UNC. I made a reference to Duke and the Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. Here's my reference to NC State. There is a song by NC State superfan, may even be an alum, Scotty McCreery, country guy, where I think he's singing about high school, but it's next time I get in here, I'm going to have to buy a ticket, which is like the realization that every athlete has, like, now Bacot will probably never have to buy a ticket.
Probably not.
But there is that moment where it's like, next time I'm here, I'm not a player. Right? Next time I'm here, I don't walk through the tunnel of high fives coming out for the game. Next time I'm here, they're going to show me on the Jumbotron. I'm going to wave. Everybody's going to get real happy, and I don't even have to score a bucket to do it. It's like next time I'm in here, everything is different, and that's the emotion of senior day.